choosing who to marry. We have this common issue, mistake people, often make when they are looking for life partner, because there are certain basic things you should be looking out for before you click, before you go along with anyone, whether a man, whether a woman. There are things you should be looking out for. And today we'll be doing justice to some of the things we believe are necessary, are essential, you know, in choosing who to marry when you want to find a life partner. So you are meant to focus on those aspects, because those aspects will define your marriage. They are very important, because what you are going into is not a short-term covenant or contract. It's not a contract. That is a lifelong contract agreement you're going to be spending the rest of your life. I don't believe anybody is going into marriage to get into that and divorce or break up, or crash them. So everyone has this desire that if I want to go into marriage, I'm going into marriage to enjoy marriage, to have a beautiful marriage, beautiful children, beautiful home, and beautiful life. So you should have some basic knowledge to things you should be looking out for. So, and then we want to look into those things, like we'll be breaking point for.
So a lot of people are really having challenges in when it comes to choosing who to settle with. It's not peculiar to just the women. Both men and women have similar challenges when it comes to choosing the right partner. So is it choosing smart or choosing right? It's really a challenge, and it's something that people need more information and more knowledge and guidance at this critical phase, because any decision that is made at that time can affect a whole lot. It can affect destiny and generations. So it's one critical aspect, one critical part of one's life that anybody who wishes to marry must have to pass through. So we need the guidance, and by God's grace, we have been married, and we also passed through that phase. So we're here to share what from our own experience and experience with ourselves and with our friends and people we've come across, what we think. And this is going to be beneficial to people who are about to marry, people, the singles, the ones in courtship about to marry, and everyone who is interested the in marriage as a lasting legacy.
Good. The question everyone should ask him or herself is, when you are ready for marriage. So what you're going to be asking yourself is, what am I looking out for? What kind of picture am I going to? Do I have a picture of the future you're looking out for? So, and one of the basic things that we suggest and advise people to go out for, to look out for, is that when you meet the Mr. Right or the Mrs. Right, the first thing you should be, that will be your focus, is what is your vision of life, your aspirations, the goals that you have set out within yourself, what you are looking out in the future that you're going to be achieving. So that's what I call, I don't know if that is grammatically correct, but I put it that way: vision compatibility. So you will be spending a lot of time. So don't be in hurry. In fact, the first stage I would say, don't be in hurry to get into marriage, because it's a foundation. And you need to make sure that you set a very solid foundation. So you will spend good time talking with that person, trying to, get as much as you can, understand the kind of vision the person have. Because if there is a vision contradiction, if the vision are contradictory, so that is the beginning of problem. if the way you see things, if what you plan for yourself is opposite to what your partner also has, so that's where the problem starts. So you have to spend a whole lot of time talking with the person, try to learn his or her own vision of life. So if you see something similar, it mustn't be perfect. Something similar can start up somewhere.
Yeah, and I agree with what you said, because I mean, if there is nothing you share in common, then that love and you claim to be in is not enough to sustain the marriage in the long run. So you need to have a common ground. Like, you need to have a lot to share in common. It could be a vision, it could be hobbies or something you're interested in. I mean, I know people bend to love what their partners love, anyway. But does it really give you joy to do that? If it's not something you're happy to do, then it does, at the end of the day, you get tired of pretending to love that. So it should be something that you're genuinely interested in, and something you're working towards. If you're somebody that is career oriented, you need to, marry a partner, even if it's not into career, but someone that supports women in career. Otherwise, when you get married, everything will be truncated, because he's not going to see in the direction and that you're saying it. You're talking about career, he's talking about business, he's not supporting you. Now, I'm not in any way saying that people in career should not marry people that love business. No, but what I'm saying is that you should be someone that loves to support businesses, and he should be someone that loves to support career as well. So it mustn't be that you're doing exactly the same thing, but do you support what he is doing, or do you support what she is doing? Are you willing to support this person in that vision, even if it's not exactly, it doesn't match with yours? People who love to travel and people who don't love, are you someone that's willing to go all the way out with the other person? So there needs to be common ground, and if it's not exact, then there has to be that passion to support the other person, and it's something you're happy to do willingly, not being forced
Forced to do
into someone else's vision. So if it doesn't rhyme with your own vision, it has to be something that you're genuinely interested in supporting in the long run.
You see, there is always a room for improvement, flexibility, and all that. But the most important thing is that there should be a common ground. So it's not where a situation where you are totally an alien to that person's belief. So if there should be a common ground. Okay, I take for example, I am married to someone that believe that marriage should be one. Like, we are Christians, and when we had our vow, we took our vow at the altar, we had a blessing from the man of God that said, okay, both of you has become one today, one body. And then our translation, our interpretation to what that means is that we are not going to run anything in a separate form. We join our efforts together. If we have a business, we run a business as one body. And that has actually helped us not to have secret. So we know each other's whatever we are doing behind. So, and that has also helped us to build trust. We have people who believe that, oh, well, we are married, but whatever I do, I run my own affair, you run your own affair. And to me, what I believe that when people operate that way, there always, a gap, a vacuum that could form distrust. So it depends on what you believe. So if you have this belief, which you think that is better for you, that is going to help you to have peace in your home and enjoy a long-lasting marriage and relationship, then you should make sure that your partner will have a common belief, a common principle. So if that is the situation, that marriage can have a strong foundation.
All right. So still choosing who to marry. We've just to recap what we've said, like, there needs to be a common ground. It
Yeah.
has to be somebody that you have you share something in common with.
Yeah.
If you have nothing in common with the person, then there's no connection.
Yeah, there's no connection.
Yeah, so but someone that you have something in common with, or someone that you're interested in what he is doing, and you are happy to always be in support of that,
Yeah.
it is one thing to always look out for in choosing a life partner.
Yeah.
So while choosing a life partner, I also think, like, behaviorally, there are certain behaviors that we may also see as red flags,
Oh yeah.
which is often common mention. Some people see it and some people choose to ignore it.
Yeah.
But
Which is-
any red flag that is ignored always pop up in marriage from people's experiences. So what do you think are those, red flags
yeah, to avoid.
to avoid?
Yeah, well, I used to say that whatever problems or issue you have during your relationship and during what we call as dating, prior to
Courtship.
marriage, yeah, pre-marriage activities. So the things that you did or you're doing way before you are married with whoever you want to marry. So if there have been issues coming up, maybe the person lies to you, is not always telling you the truth, and then you have tried like to figure out why she or he keep doing that. So how the person cheated during their relations. So anyone who can go as far as cheating when you are dating the person. So so some of these things are red flags. So if you are not ready to endure those things, you have to reconsider moving into marriage, because those things will still repeat in marriage. So the problems that you find or you see during relationship often resurfaces in marriage. So it's just a reality. Unless there is a genuine repentance, or that genuine repentance should happen before marriage takes place. So because if that genuine repentance did not happen, that those attitudes, those lifestyles will still reassure, because it's the same person. So that person has not changed. So you should know what you think you cannot tolerate. You should know a life that you think you cannot, like a lifestyle that you cannot accept, no matter any situation. So if you find that kind of, situation or development or whatever during the dating or time, or the relationship before the marriage, you can just give it a quit. Don't proceed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you just mentioned lying. Some people see lying as just
Common thing.
as very common. They lie about everything. They lie about the creams.
Yeah.
Like, what are you using for your skincare? They're
Yeah.
telling lies about it.
Yeah. I
Some
once
tell.
yeah. Sorry. I
Yeah.
once had a friend. The lady he wanted to marry. So the problem was that she always says things in the opposite. So even if she buys a cream of 3,000 naira, she will say it's a 10,000. So the problem with the guy is that well, I think this might be a way to scope, to scope him if they finally get married. So why she kept lying? Why would she lie over everything? So if she buys phone of 50,000, 100,000, she would say it's 200,000 naira. So, and that was the reason why that marriage did not take place. That was just the reason. And I was like, no, I know this cannot change. So she can't just change that kind of lifestyle overnight. So don't ignore any of the things you think that you cannot tolerate, because this is why marriage crash. This is why we have divorce everywhere today. I know people change even when there is no issues in the marriage. They change and all that. Environmental factors that can change. A lot of things can happen, but the basic things that happen that you think you cannot tolerate. So it's better to call it a quit, not to proceed. They say broken relationship is better than a broken marriage.
Broken marriage.
Yeah.
So lying, cheating,
Cheating,
I think cheating is very clear.
Yeah.
Like if the person chooses to go with the other person, I mean, why be a second hand?
And again, materialism,
So, yeah.
even somebody who is so like high test and all that. So if you are a kind of person that like a moderate lifestyle, and then you are, going hanging out or hoping to marry someone who is a high test person, who cannot maybe eat in a restaurant, who cannot even eat in the house, who like a high test hotel and all
that's
that.
one major thing.
Yeah. So if you know some of these things are red flags, you can give it a quit and then
it's a problem, really. Well, I was just talking about I'll finish what I was saying about cheating. Like, someone told me, she said, if the first is good enough, then there'll be no need for the second.
Yeah.
So it means the first is not good enough. That's why the person actually went for the second. So if your partner, if the person is just you're in a relationship and is already cheating, it means the second is better than you. So just let the person go, and don't get into complicated marriage and stuff. And materialism is one thing that a lot of ladies, I mean, they love to, okay, yeah, they want to look good and stuff. And as a man, you think that simplicity is better for you. Why do you want to go for the lady who is all touched up?
Yeah.
Like, you're seeing her with long hair, wigs and weave-ons and lots of makeup, and you like it.
Yeah.
So why do you think she's going to stop all those things when she gets married to you? So I mean, so you get married to her and then you expect her to change. I think people should just go to who is within their class. People, so if you're the kind that love to, you love to be flashy and flamboyant, don't go for somebody that is simple, and because there'll be a clash. So let people, or you're a church girl, and you're somebody that is not into churchy stuff, is coming for you. You need to ask yourself some questions. How is this going to? Where is the common ground? So how are you going to manage? Like, except you're willing to compromise a lot of things, So people should go for who is within their level, or except you have thought it through and you're willing to make compromises that you are happy to, compromise about, not that you're forced to do so. I have a friend, when she got married, she wasn't doing nails. See, something as simple as nails, fixing artificial nails. So she wasn't a fan of it. I've never seen her on it. So when I saw her doing it after marriage, like, I was like, this is beautiful. She said, well, she doesn't even like it. She's just doing it for her husband. Now, it's good. Yeah, it's good to do things for your husband if that also makes you happy. But the point is that she wasn't happy doing it. So it wasn't something she was, happy about, and that's where the grudges and the conflicts come from, because this person is sacrificing her own comfort. She doesn't want to, and you understand what I mean? So it has to be, if you're going to make compromises, it has to be compromises that you're happy to make. Not something you're being forced to. That's a difference between the two. And those people, those men, such men, that if she refuses to do it, then he will use it as a ground to, get involved with other girls that do it. But in the first place, why go for the girl? Why not go for someone who does those things? So these are things as little as, the dress sense and stuff is also something you should look into, and iron things out properly, with the guy and or the lady, and make sure you have a common ground. So little things like that don't cause misunderstanding that leads to cheating and leads to breakup and heartbreaks and stuff like that. So little things like, materialism, is a whole lot when it comes to choosing who to marry. Either you're at a common level ground, or you're willing to happily make compromises.
Like, we're still talking about the things one has to look out for before you go ahead marrying someone. People do things for convenience, and then some of this is like both sides, both the man and even the woman. So maybe when the man meets the lady, so he knows that, okay, I am going to like someone that will put fingers. But at that moment, she's okay. That may not be an issue because the lady, maybe she's tall, or she's got a kind of a good look and all that. So the man can use that one as a convenience. So even though he still have other issues that he's going to be expecting the lady to, and the lady herself might have noticed that this man, because there is no way someone can fake a life, even if the person is faking it, there are still some. So there's still a way you can still find out that things are not, the way it should, or things are not, so there is no way you will not discover that things are not. So the lady herself might say, okay, well, the mama want me to be doing this, but for the sake of maybe convenience, I just want to get married. I want to answer, just be.
Yeah.
So then they accept, and along the line, she's no longer happy doing it. So, and many people, many married, couple today, many couple today are actually living what I call a fake life. They are not happy doing what they are doing. They are just doing it because they have no option. So don't put yourself in a situation where you have no option to do what will make you happy. See somebody, okay, I'm just doing this because I have no option. I'm just wearing this kind of type of clothes. It's not even what I like wearing, but I have no option. I'm doing it for my partner or my spouse to be happy. So don't get yourself to this point, because when you get yourself to this point, it affects a whole lot in your life. Even your vision, your aim, your goal in life will be affected, because there is no horrible place compared with a place where you are and you are not happy in that place. So you have to do everything possible to make sure that if you are going into marriage, your happiness is guaranteed. People change. But there is this philosophy that says that no one changes entirely out of the background, culture, or training. If the person is changing within that life cycle. Okay, for example, a Christian trained girl, apart from maybe the religion or whatever, but a well brought up girl, yeah, with a good manners, who believe in morality and discipline and principles, moral principles. So no matter the changes the person will have, it will still be within that scope of her belief, because that's one thing about belief. The culture, the background, you can't overgrow it. If you are developing, you are growing within that circle. So that's why a wise person, they say, when it's a wise man, if you're looking for a whom to marry, they don't joke with background. They don't joke with background, because it is very important. The background where the person is coming out from, that background plays a major and a powerful role in that person's life. So we had a case in America where a man committed suicide, and one person made a very interesting comment, and he said that the background where the wife was coming from, that he ignored it. So, but that background is, a background where people are, greedy. I don't want to go beyond this, but people should understand what I mean. So, background very important. So you have to look into that, because if you don't, that will be a problem in the marriage.
So I think this is like a red flag you're pointing
out. Yeah.
So when you mention background, you're also mentioning family in extension. Yeah. So when choosing who to marry, I wouldn't call it a red flag, but it's something to consider.
Yeah.
You need to find out what apart from the person's culture, what is the family like? What is the family like? And how, if it's someone from a family that is not very good, with values, how different is this person from the family values if you're willing to still pursue it? How far does she disagree? What is the extent of agreement or disagreement with the family values if they are not good? Yeah. So these things come with, wisdom in deciding, because it could lead to conflict even, during the courtship or dating period. Because family is one touchy aspect, and people
Yeah.
don't want their family to be ridiculed or insulted, So when talking about their family, for instance, and the family is not so good and you find out on time, so it's very sensitive, but it's something that you should not ignore because you are in love. Those butterflies don't
Yeah.
last, So, but it's something that you need to critically look into and ask God for wisdom on how to decide on such issues, but it should not be ignored. Family is one big influence on a person, directly or indirectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Is he talking about family? You see, this is a very essential aspect that one should not ignore. You see, people who grow up in an extreme toxic environment, they have this everlasting fear, this nervous in them. That is part of them, and then that's it's not gonna be an automatic disqualification or a problem. But if you are getting along, if you want to proceed with with the relationship or to marriage, so whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, so you should have that consciousness, that knowledge that such a person is coming from such a toxic, brought up home, with that experience. So, such a person is going to be living a life of what I call defensive lifestyle. So, it's going to be hard for the person to apologize because they always are afraid of consequences of action. So, they wouldn't want to be found in a situation where they are taking responsibility of an action so that they can face that punishment, that hell punishment. So, they would like to defend themselves so they can exonerate themselves and declare themselves innocent of action. In that case, there will always be a clash, there will always be disagreement, there will always be confrontation because this one will, I want you to accept this thing, and you say, no, I didn't do it. So, and if you, as a man or as a woman, is getting along with such a person, so you should know if it is something you can tolerate. If it is not, there is no need going into, walking into a fire that is going to burn you. So if you are walking into a fire, you have to carry water, then carry everything, fire extinguisher, so you can extinguish as much as you can. Otherwise, stay clear and stay out. That's just it. So family matters. Very important. Talking about family again, like a family where even a mother or a father beats, the wife and they fight all the time, and that child growing up with that bad experience and all that. So, you should also check if it's something that you can tolerate. I've
Yeah.
also witnessed a family where the woman slaps the husband, slaps the husband in front of the children. So, and the daughter, was like seeing that as a normal thing, that you have to slap your husband and then nothing is gonna happen. So family, check the family at the background.
yeah. So I think this also leads to like childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Because I mean, some people have been so traumatized
Yeah.
that they don't even know that it's affecting their life.
Yeah.
They are so used to trauma that they see it as a normal part of life, and it affects their communication, affects their social life, like everything they're doing. It's into play. You just mentioned they're always defensive, which is true.
Yeah.
Because the toxicity is always in the environment, so they're always trying to show themselves, and it leads to more conflict, especially when the person is out of that environment and cannot relate properly with other people. So childhood trauma, if for instance, if you're a man and the lady is someone that had such trauma, you may seem to have come out of it, but in the subconscious those things are repressed.
Yeah.
So you need to know how to, if you're someone that's still willing to, when you're choosing who to marry and the person you think is the one has such, you don't overlook it, because it could lead to conflict. So you must discuss and know, or on your own do research on how to go about handling this. If you think you cannot handle it, it's better to just quit.
Yeah.
But it's something that you can go through. But for the person who is who has passed through childhood trauma, it's good you take responsibility for yourself and heal.
Yeah.
It's better to heal before getting into marriage, so you don't, seek revenge on your partner who is totally innocent
Yeah.
of you whatever transpired in your childhood. So
Yeah.
healing is one important aspect
Yeah.
of trauma. So family, yeah, and trauma, yeah. So with all of the violence, if you've not witnessed such a thing, heal before getting into
Getting into
marriage.
marriage. Yeah.
Heal properly and confirm your healing. And it's also good to open up such to your
Have a
partner.
discussion,
Yeah,
yeah.
tell your partner about it, so that when some behaviors come up, or poor communication and stuff like that, the person is also going to will understand that this is a part of it and help you to heal. So it's something that you can achieve. It's not something to cut off a relationship for, except is so much in excess, like people that who have witnessed violence with objects. You can't settle things without picking objects and hitting people and all that. I mean, if it's threatening to your life, it's better to to quit. But
Yeah.
if it's not threatening, it's better you can walk through it, seek help if you can't walk through it on your own, and let your partner know so you can get the support you need.
Yeah.
So that leads me to communication.
Yeah.
So communication is also one thing to consider when choosing who to marry. There there's someone that said that mental assessments should be one thing. When you do your blood test and stuff, you should also do mental assessments.
Good. Yeah.
So many people lack communication skills, and is it I don't know how to describe
Maybe they
this.
fear the consequences, or fear of wish not to say it. But just like you have mentioned,
Yeah.
one of the treacherous things that people do, which I don't recommend, is they try to hide their weaknesses from with their partner at the starting point. So they pretend that everything is fine, and this is it's a problem, because your partner needs to know you, and you know people better from their weak point. So if everything about a person is totally good, there will be no improvement. So because people sometimes have this kind of I don't know why they do it. So try to hide every bad information about
They
them.
hide it because
Whatever they don't want the marriage for stereotyping
some people use it against them.
and
Yeah, stereotyping.
stigmatization. But that is where you should also know that your right partner will not stigmatize you. Because why you're using it against you? Because why those information are important is for the person to still reconsider. Because you can't be entering into a total fake contract, fake agreement, when you go into it and you see totally different things. So I see that as deception. So when you want to marry someone and you have a whole lot of experience, I don't mean maybe a mistake of maybe somebody has touched you, or some stuff has happened. I mean, those I'm talking about something that is capable of impacting that marriage, like you've mentioned, toxic, home, and then trauma and all that. It's important to relate, to have a robust communication conversation with your partner, and they unpack everything that you think that is capable of even if both parties. Did you know that some people are going into a relationship just to get someone that can replace their ex? So they don't even care about, so all they want to have a picture of whom they loved, so that the person can come and be playing that role. So, and then you will now tell me, you see the reason why we have problems in a marriage, because these are fundamental things. They are fundamentals. They are foundational problems, and if you don't get it right, you cannot get it right. If you don't get it right from start, you can't get it right. You cannot get it right.
It becomes difficult.
Yes.
I mean, nothing is impossible without grace, but it's really
exactly, because some of these problems are like a seed.
Yeah.
So they bear it in their minds, in their life, and they move it. So when you get along without proper unpacking and making sure that everything is unveiled. Nothing should be hidden. Nothing should be hidden. Anything you think that is capable of bringing issues to your marriage, you should let your partner know before you say yes to him or her. Because if you don't, it's a seed that will definitely grow. And when it grows in the marriage, it will become a serious problem. You can no longer cut it fast. The only thing you just do is to part
But
away.
I think for people, like when it comes to like unpacking and unveiling, for people who are not virgins, I don't think it's necessary to. I mean, if you're a virgin, tell your partner to be that you're a virgin. If you're not, it's not necessary to recount your experiences with other men. Or other
No,
ladies.
no, no,
You
it's
don't
not.
need to. Just tell
It's
the
not.
person that you're not.
Yeah,
I
if your
mean,
partner is actually looking for
if it's a very rough
life,
life, just say I've lived a very, so he can understand. Okay, very, you know. But if it's just a low key rough life, just I've just been a little bit of a bad girl, you know. But if you but giving the details, I've had five, like
yeah,
it doesn't add to the
I don't even
marriage.
think that
That's
is.
what I think.
Yeah, but for me, I
Yeah.
don't even think it's going to be necessary for someone who has lived maybe rough, like maybe slept with a lot of men, and start telling them
Yeah, the person is going
I've
to
slept
know.
with a lot of men. And
No, but he was going to
well,
know I'm not a virgin.
Well, what
Or
I
I am a
think,
virgin.
what I think is that if you know that sleeping with a lot of men will not be an issue in the relationship, you don't have to, because it's a life that you have lived, and those life, if they're not are affecting you, if you are not going into the marriage and to maybe in the future you start testing one of those men out there, you start testing them as your ex-boyfriends. If you're not going to be testing them, but if you're going to be, there will be a situation that you will still have to test those your ex-boyfriends. So you have to tell your partner, say, I've had a lot of boyfriends. There are many of them. I still want to keep them. So, but of course, if the man wants to still go along with you, knowing that you have a lot of boyfriends that you're still going to get in touch with, so he is his business. You know what I mean? So because this is not to condemn anybody, because some people, because I'm not a virgin, but if you come to a person and say, I'm a virgin,
then you should be a
you
virgin.
should be a virgin. So if you're not a virgin and say I'm a virgin, if the man wants to marry a virgin, don't use the say deception, because if he finds out, that is where problem will start.
Right.
Yeah.
So another one is like we've not still on. Well, we have to finish this communication like
Yeah,
properly,
so
because
we can move
I
on
mean,
to another topic.
life is all about
Next time.
communication. We
Yeah.
talk to people and they talk about you smile expression and stuff. So communication is one thing. Like people, how do they respond in discussions? Are there people who are positive in their thinking, or they want to, pick on one, looking out for faults and offenses, and not willing to let go of these things, or the person is not even forgiving something as little as I don't know, maybe place to go, choosing a place to go, or you're driving in a car and you missed a turn and the person is very mad at you. Like, that communication skill is not there. It's not like, wow, sorry, it's like we missed it, and then things are still flowing. But it's somebody that wants to pick on every fault and keep kicking at it and picking on it until it becomes full-blown arguments and quarrel. And even if it's full-blown, the person is not making any effort to calm down, like to de-escalate things. I mean, it's a no-go area, because there will be things to disagree about in marriage.
Yeah.
So if it's not someone with this positive communication, then it's a big problem. It's a red flag for me. Communication.
Do you know anybody that picks offense at every little things happening? Is picks offense and speaking of offense and getting angry and reacting abnormally at every situation, every mistake. That's something I want to say today. If that is the case, I want to let the public know that those things that the person is speaking offense at each of the incidents, they are not the cause of the anger or the provocation. There is always something deeper than those things. Those things are just what I call, they are like ignition triggers. So they are triggers. There is already a deep, aggression, something that, like you said, maybe trauma that the person has not unpacked, has not dealt with. So that is just whenever there is any little mistake. So what will provoke the person is not that issue that happened, is that anger that has not been dealt with, that trauma. The person will be reacting as using that thing as a bedrock, reacting to the present. So, and if the partner is confused about this kind of development, a situation, yeah, it means that there was no robust communication.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was something that was not said at the starting point of the relationship. So the woman or the man should go back to the talking point, sit the partner down, and have a robust conversation. Tell me about your background. Tell me about your life. I had a lady who was molested by the sister's boyfriend. So she was molested by this guy, and then this guy threatened that he was going to kill her if she confesses, and she was scared, and then she was scared of her life and also scared of her sister. So that made her, to be like naive, like somebody that is absent mind. So if you are talking with her, so she just like somebody to get lost. So, and it has happened for a long time.
So it's trauma.
Yeah, it's trauma. So, and then there was a guy that wanted to marry her. So that was just the problem. So she was not able to open up, but she was giving that this attitude and then being absent-minded and everything. And then the guy was like, no, this one is like having mental problems. So he did not go ahead with the marriage. So later on, when he realized that was actually the situation, he was like, oh, I should have even helped by securing psychological assistance or whatever. So it's always good to open up. So don't think that the person will use it against, like you mentioned. It's always good to open up. If the person doesn't want to go ahead, it's better that you are safe.
Right.
Yeah.
So as a further step to this, the next one is physical abuse. Like when there's disagreement and it doesn't go well, it degenerates to abuse. And if it does, that is for me is the worst red flag that you should run away from. Yeah. So if a man or a woman tries to, like, this person is, you're having a disagreement, and he's not at the level of that disagreement. He's not taking the disagreement lower to de-escalate it and stop it, but he's escalating it up to the extent of laying his hand on you. It's time to just quit. Like, don't think about it a second time. Don't give a second chance. A first slap is enough. In fact, the intention to slap, or if not for one thing, I would have slapped you. Even the statement, like, it's already a red. Just for me, escape. No matter how much you are in love, no matter how much you have invested in that marriage, before you, or in that relationship, before you think that it's safe to continue, you need to give it a thorough thought. Otherwise, I would say just escape, because the person who has tried to abuse you physically in relationship is going to abuse you in marriage.
Good, yeah. That's a very powerful point. Yeah, if the person attempts to beat you up before marriage, he would definitely, or she would definitely attempt the same thing. Even if she pleads with you, the only thing he would do is just the same way he used to beg you, say, I've repented. They don't usually repent. Then another point which I will say after that, and then we can conclude, is about, respect.
Do you know how did you
respect?
You just took it out of. That was the next thing I wanted to say.
Respect. if you fancy respect, because some people don't fancy respect, because people's interests are different. If you fancy respect, you want respect, and both sides, both partners, and then you notice that the partner or whom you want to marry doesn't have that respect for you,
Yeah.
That respect will not come in marriage.
No.
It will not come. So the respect also extends to your parents. If the person does not respect your parents, he has no regard for them. So you should is a big red flag because nobody's going to call him or her to order. So anybody who cannot respect your parents cannot even respect you. So it's a very big and a very serious red flag. Very serious red flag. Respect is reciprocal. Respect is earned. It's not a constitutional thing. So that is by command. So you earn it. So you earn it. So but some people will not naturally they don't have respect. Naturally, they don't. They don't have respect. And you should, it's going to be the first thing that you will notice. That first outing you're going to have with that person that says, I want to marry you. That first day you go out and to talk, to have a conversation. That disrespect attitude will unveil. Don't disregard it. It's a very powerful, serious red flag.
Yeah. So respect, that was exactly what I wanted to conclude this live and talk show with. Respect is very important. Someone that has so much respect for you, like he respects you, so he doesn't talk down on you when you're alone. He doesn't talk down on you when you're with friends. Like he respects everything about you. He's proud of you. Like that is one major aspect to look out for when choosing who to marry. And if the person doesn't have respect for you, it's better to move out. You can't live in a place, your home, where you call home, and you're not respected. How are you going to live the rest of your 50 years, 60 years with that person? I know couples joke. You can call yourselves names when you're joking. That's different. That's humor. But when it comes to when somebody doesn't respect you, you can differentiate that from humor. You know when it's a joke and you know when it's disrespect. So, and also the way the person treats his own parents, someone who doesn't have regard for his own parents, his own mom and dad, it's difficult to see that person is going to respect you as well. So both parents, your parents, his parents, and you need to see how the person treats them, how much respect he accords to these people, and how these people are significant figures in his life, because they will have a say. Just in any case, nobody is praying for things to happen, but if your mom has a need to speak to your husband, is he going to listen? Or is he going to, give her the insult of her life and stuff like that? If his own mom is talking to him, how much respect does he give his mom? It's very important. So respect for both parents and yourself. If it's not there, then it's a red flag. Yeah, so that's what I think.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be our last point today. Then marrying smart include not marrying liability in both sides. We have men who are liability, we have women who are liability. In the world of today, when you marry a liability, you will not achieve your dreams. You will be so frustrated in life.
A lazy man, a lazy
man, and a lazy
someone
woman
who has no ambition.
You
don't want to make money.
Even if when you bring money, he will squander the money, will not invest the money in anything, and he will even steal your own money and squander it and destroy your cause. So be careful to avoid such people. Wish everyone the best in life, in marriage. So our next topic will be interesting. We're gonna learn from here. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for joining, and I hope God. So, but do we have to? We've not even mentioned about praying about it. From the Christian aspect. You must not overrule it with
prayer is the key.
With your wisdom and fact finding is good,
because
but
God is everything.
When you pray and you have peace as well,
because God is
that's the topping on the ice cream,
that
peace of mind when you pray about it is the topping on the ice cream. Thank you, everyone, for joining. See you next time on our talk show.
Thank you.